Hey, this is Bevan with another freediving review. Today we're going to go over the Ginnie Springs Cavern in High Springs, Florida, which in my opinion is one of the best places in Florida to go freediving. So this is what Ginnie Springs looks like on a typical summer day. There's actually usually more people than this though. But the good thing is there's very clear water here when people aren't stirring it up, and it's a really great place. So here's the Ginnie Spring Cavern. Here's the entrance to it. Doesn't look like a lot from the surface, but there's two openings, one on the right, one on the left. And this is a nice place to stand right here to rest in between dives. Quite convenient. So feel free to pause here and stare at this cave map that I drew and get familiar with some of the points in the cave, points of interest. And so starting off, going in through the right opening right here. And this first room has plenty of light. You really don't even need a flashlight in this room. It's lit up very well, a lot of white limestone. It's quite pretty just to sit in that room and look around. So here's where it drops down and gets deeper going into the second room, and you of course definitely need a flashlight in there, as you can see. So if you want to test out how far you can go into this thing, here's a couple landmarks that you can use. There's the end of the flat rock. There's the boulders. You could see if you can go that distance and back safely. And then there's the rope. See if you can grab that a little ways down. Then there's this boulder in the back middle of the room that I'll show you just sticking up. So here's what it looks like on the right side of this cavern. And this is a fairly large cavern. The first room and the second room are both very big. And as you can see, just going along here, taking my time. On the right side of this cavern, it's fairly straightforward. There's not a lot of little crevices or tunnels or openings that you can go into. But you can definitely, tour the cave here and take a look around. And so this is where it drops down into the second room. Gets a little deeper. Of course, gets darker. And then the grate is at the back of the cave here. It's in that direction over there. And that's, of course, where the water's coming out of. Right there is the grate. And then there's this rope that people put into this cave long ago. And you can actually pull on that. It's fairly convenient. And then that's your view looking back. And so you want to give yourself some time. I mean, from this point right here, it's probably going to be at least 15 seconds before you can get some air again. So if you want to swim all the way back to the grate, this is the way that I would go. I find this to be the easiest way to do it because it's actually a pretty long distance. And you want to be an experienced, advanced freediver to do a distance like this. But you pretty much go through the middle of the first room, and then just keep on going. Now there's that rock, that boulder I'm talking about, sticking up in the middle of the room. That right there. Nice little landmark. You swim right to the left of that, and you of course grab it and pull yourself, further on. And there's also that rock there. You can pull yourself. And then you're not really feeling the current right here because you're going in from the right side. And there it is. There's the grate. There's the source of Ginnie Springs. They got this nice little sand here at the bottom. It's actually pretty cool. And you don't really realize how far back you are in this cave until you turn around and look up like that. You're like, whoa. But there's this rope right here. You can grab this and pull on this, save some oxygen, use your arms instead of your legs. I always do this. Except when I'm holding a camera, I can only do it with one arm. So now I'm back into the first room. Lots of light, and I still got another maybe 10 seconds till I can get some air. All right, here's another room I wanted to show you. It's pretty interesting. A lot of people probably don't know it's there. So here's that flat rock I'm talking about in the middle of the room. Okay, so you have to go to the left of that. And just keep on going. Usually the cave is very, very clear, but you see these particles, it's because there's some scuba divers back in there and they're kind of kicking things up. So there's this opening, a little shortcut opening into the second room. It's quite convenient. So if you swim through this, make a left turn, and then go maybe another 10 feet, and then you make another little left turn, look around this rock, you'll find this nice little room back here. Nice little discovery when I first saw it. You can swim back into that, check it out, but fairly long distance, so make sure you have the breath hold to do it. Then from here, I just have to make my way back out. From this point, you may not have any surface light until you take this corner, and then there's your first room, and you know your way out. So another little path you can take is this, where you can see actually into this room that I just showed you. There's these little openings, crevices. So here's the left side of the room. I said there's a low ceiling, and that's because of this. It's kind of sloping down and just gets kind of narrow and tight, and sometimes there's some little fish back in there. So that's what the left side looks like. Now if you swim into kind of the back left here of the first room, you'll find that there's a little opening that you can fit through right here. And if you go into this, you'll find a little opening right there. That's into that room. You can't fit through that, so don't try. And then if you actually go a little bit further, stick your head over this, you'll find another little crevice opening into that room I just showed you. Now that's very tight. Don't try to fit in there, and even just getting to this point is a little difficult. But it's still interesting nonetheless. Here's another spot I really wanted to show you at the back left of the cave. And this is, of course, pretty far back, so make sure you have the breath hold ability to do this. But first you go through this little shortcut opening into the second room. There were some scuba divers there, but they were kind enough to give me the right of way and let me get around them. And my flashlights were much better than theirs. I'm actually holding two flashlights so I could get some better video with the camera. So this is the very back left of the cave, and if you look around this rock, you'll find this little spot, little opening there, little room. I don't hang out very long because it is pretty far back. And then there's that other room I just showed you, bubbles on the ceiling, and then you gotta navigate around these scuba divers. And so there, back through the little shortcut opening, and back into the first room. We know our way out. So the cool thing is, you can do a swim through with this area, and this is the path that I recommend taking. And so let me show you what this looks like. So we're starting off in the first room, and we're just swimming to kind of the left middle of it, and there's that opening again. So you swim through this, and then you make kind of a diagonal left, and you want to stay near the ceiling because you have to go between the ceiling and that big boulder in front of you. So you swim up and over this boulder, and then you see this little tunnel, swim down into that, and then you kind of have to make your right turn, go around this, and you're in the very back of this cave. And now here you're back into the second room, and hopefully you know your way out. You do want to learn this cave and recognize the rocks and passages. So there's the opening again, and then there's our surface light, and we know our way out. It's actually very cool to go back into that left side of the room, but make sure you give yourself some time because it's a good 30-35 seconds from the very back of the room back to the surface. So make sure that you have the ability to hold your breath that long. Another path that you could take is this one right here. It's a nice little tour of the cave. All in one dive, you can see the whole cave. It's pretty cool, but I don't have any video to show you that. Here's another cool thing. You can actually walk on the ceiling. This is so awesome. You take off your wake belt, take off your fins, swim into that first room, you'll float right to the ceiling, and then you just kind of walk around. It's actually pretty fun. My cameraman wasn't the best. Anyway, here's how I scored this place. So starting off, it is a nice big cave. So full points there. It is also very clear water, when people aren't stirring it up. Very pretty, of course, as you can see. And it's not very deep, though. It only gets about 50-55 feet. It has some nice big openings into the cave, so that's great. There's a weak current, so you don't have to fight. It's easy to get to this place, easy to find it. And then you have a nice place to rest at the surface between dives. It does get crowded, though. That's kind of an issue. But great facilities. So overall, great place to dive. Give it 93%. Really recommend it. Well, that's my review for the Ginnie Springs Cavern. I hope you can make it there someday. As well as some of the other springs in the park. It's really a great place to visit. I'll make some other videos in the future to review the other springs there. Other than that, stay safe and always remember to have fun. See ya.